Hey guys, it's Jalen. Welcome back. I'm here today to share with you some updates to the items that I have pan on in my collection. I last filmed this video in June of last year, and I meant to do an update like every 6 months, and well, that's long past. So I kind of had this on my list of things to film this month. So I was like, well, even though it's 8 months, it's fine. We'll go ahead and film it. March seems to be a pretty good month for me. So maybe I'll do this again in 6 months. So I actually have a pretty decent amount of stuff over here. I'm going to link my last video over here because there's a lot more in that video because it was like everything that I had on my collection at the time. This is everything that I have hit pan on since that video. And there are actually a couple of things that I have hit pan on and finished and have since decluttered out of my collection since that video. So anyway, you'll see that video up in the cards. We're going to go in a specific order. I'm kind of going to go like face products. So I actually have a primer for this month. We'll go through bronzers, blushes, face powders, and then we'll go into eyeshadows, which is the bulk of what I have here. Before I do that, I am going to share with you a couple of things that have changed since the last video in terms of like either something that had pan doesn't have pan now, or like I mentioned, items that I have hit pan, finished, and got rid of. Okay, let's start with that first one. So the first one I'm going to talk about is actually from the Hourglass Ambient Edit Volume 4 palette. I had 3 products that were still left in that palette from the last time I did this video. 2 blushes were Luminous Glow and one other one. I can't remember what it was. Hold on. Luminous Glow and Euphoric Fusion. I also have since hit pan and finished the powder highlighter in that palette, which was Euphoric Strobe Light. So those 3 were not actually part of my empties in 2022, but they are part of my empties from, I think, last month in February. So I could have gone and pulled out the palette, but it doesn't have pan. It's all done. So those 3 were, again, products I hit pan on and since finished. I also have a couple of products, like this one here. This is a bronzer that I hit pan on. I talked about last month. The Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer, but I have repressed it so it no longer really has pan. I'm working on finishing this. This is a product that I hit pan on and then it like shattered and broke and I had to repress it. Again, it's shattered again. This powder is the bane of my existence right now. The Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder in the shade Medium. Here's the packaging. I repressed it and it's again, it's a hot mess of a palette. So I have to do something else with this. I'm going to set this aside actually. I did declutter an item that I had pan on. It was the Kosas Duo in 8th Muse High Intensity. I had hit pan and I think both the blush and highlighter, and I ended up decluttering it because it had gone off. I also forgot about a product from Benefit that I have finished and had hit pan and finished. And that is the Dandelion blush. I had a little mini, and that was it's going to be part of my empties in the month of March. I think I talked about it in my 50 Shades of Green video. So now let's start talking about the stuff that I actually have pan in. The first thing I want to talk about is a primer. I have this mini, the Tatcha Silk Canvas. I've been kind of using this on the side. It's part of my 100 Colorful Empties for this year, and I do have pan in this. Now this probably will be gone by the time I do this update next time, but I didn't want to show this to you because it does have pan. A face powder. I just hit pan in this. This may be a spoiler for a specific video. I'm not sure. I don't know when I'm going to get this up, but I did hit pan in my Pat McGrath, which you couldn't tell it's Pat McGrath because everything on here is rubbed off. Anyway, it's her under eye powder. So I just hit pan in this today. So you can see there's my pan. Exciting. All right, now I'm going to go to bronzers. I actually have pan in 2 cream bronzers. The first one is the NARS Laguna Bronzing Cream and Laguna 01. Wait, here we go. And I used this 100 times in a project and did hit pan. You can kind of see the pan there in the center. Love this product. Then I also hit pan, and this might also, no, I don't think this is, well, this might also be a spoiler. I can't remember if this product had pan when I talked about it in my last update. This is in Beauty A to Z. It's the Alley-Oop Stack. This is in the Stack the Odds palette in Sassy Pants. Yeah, Sassy Pants. And I do have pan in the bronzer. So I have only put this in for 20 uses. I think I'm like 15 or a little above 15 uses, and that's how much pan I have. Okay, so those are the two cream bronzers. I also have pan in one powder bronzer. This is the Wet n Wild Contouring Palette. Mega Glow Contouring Palette, let's just say that. In Dulce de Leche, and I did hit pan in that bronzer. So those are the three bronzers. Now moving on to blushes. I have 3 cream blushes that I have hit pan in, 4 total blushes, but let's talk about the cream blushes first. The first one is the Tower 28 Beach Please Blush and Magic Hour, and there is my pan. I also hit pan in the Rose Ink Lip and Cheek Color in the shade Heliotrope. I love this formula. Love it, love it. There's my pan. And lastly, I hit pan in the Tarte Breezy Cream Blush in Pink Sky. There we go. All right, and then I have one pan in a powder blush. This is in a NARS. It's a duo by NARS. It's the Hot Sands and Orgasm duo, and I did hit pan in Orgasm. So here's the palette, and then there's my pan and Orgasm there. All right, those are the blushes since the last update. And then I have pan in 2 highlighters. I think it's just 2. This is the Super Shock Cheek in the shade Flexitarian. So I have been working on this, and you can see my pan there. And then I hit pan in this MAC Duo. This is in the shade Tutu. It's the Nutcracker Sweet Peach Face Compact. And there is my pan. Okay, the rest of this is like eyeshadows. I'm going to start with some cream eyeshadow, like potted cream products. The first one I have is a ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Birthday Boy. Sorry for the sirens. Maybe I'll wait for them to go away. Here is the shade. Love it. Then I have an item by Hourglass. This one I was kind of close to hitting pan on last year. The Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow in the shade Aura. And here's the packaging. And there is my pan. This one takes a while. Look at my nails. Cleona. Wow. All right, and then the last cream eyeshadow that I have is by Touch and Soul. This is the Metalist Sparkling Foiled Pigment, kind of a cream shadow, in the shade Holo Mulberry. So here is the packaging. I kind of think of these as creams because they have this little, anyway. Here's my big pan. I'm surprised by how quickly I hit pan in this. There's not a lot of product in here, it appears. Yeah, 1.3 grams. It's not a lot. All right, and then I have 2 shadows that are potted that I hit pan in. These are both by MAC. The first one I have is a Shiny Pretty Shadow in the shade Make-A-Wish. And there is the shade. Oh, it's the beautiful color. I also have pan in the Extra Dimension eyeshadow in the shade Stylishly Merry. This was also part of a holiday collection like the last one. And there is my... Can you see my pan? It's kind of hard to see. And right there in the middle. All right, now to single eyeshadows. I have, 5 pans here? Several of these I hit pan on in my Zodiac Project Pan. This is the shade Vicious by Luxie Beauty. This is almost like a cream formula. It's really interesting. Another one from that project is the MAC Pigment in Ruby Red. Then from Tammy Tenuka, this is a pigment that I pressed into a pan. It's the shade Rapture. This is a large pan, as you can probably see. Then this is a Franken shadow. I combined 3 different pigments, one by e.l.f., one by MAC, and one by LA Color. And so this is just a Franken shade, but I did hit pan in it while I was using it. And then lastly, I have a matte shadow from MAC. This is the shade Tete a Tint. And I can't remember. This may be a spoiler. I don't remember if I mentioned this if I talked about this one yet. Okay. So those are all the singles. Now, the rest of what I have are eyeshadow palettes. I have a lot of eyeshadow palette pans. Holy moly, there's a lot to go through here. A lot, if not most, of these pans were hit in my Pan in Every Palette series, which I will also link in the cards. So I'm just going to go ahead and just pick from the top. It's kind of going from the largest palette to the smallest palette to the largest. So from Natasha Denona, I have the Mini Lila palette, and I hit pan in the shade Poison Berry. Love that color. From Smashbox, I have the Cover Shot Golden Hour Eye palette. It's this one here. Yeah, you can see the little reflection changing. And I hit pan in this 3rd shade, which is Turned On, I think. The Tartelette Flirt palette, and I hit pan in the shade Playful. This one is part of my Baby Pan palette this year. Not part, but is the Wet n Wild palette in Petalette. And you can see that pan in the dark purple shade. From Juvia's Place, I have the Berries palette. And I don't think these have names. But no, they don't. But I hit pan in this shade here. From Nabla, I have the QT palette in Wild Berry, and I hit pan in the shade Venom right here. I love seeing all these pans. From Viseart, I have the Petite Pro palette in the Color Story Soleil. So it's this one here, and I hit pan in this, coppery shade. Another Viseart Petite Pro. This is the Midsummer palette. This is part of my Pan That palette this year. And this will be a spoiler if I get it up before April. Sorry, April 1st. Anyway, I hit pan in this shade right here. This 2nd row, the shimmer. Sorry for the spoiler. From Glamlight, I have the Hershey's Kisses Special Dark palette. This one here. And I hit pan in the purple shimmer, this purple shimmer. From BH Cosmetics, I have the Absinthe palette. I hit pan in the shade Lucid Visions. From the Sydney Grace and Tim Talia collaboration, I have the Quintessence palette. And I hit pan in the shade the Milky Way right here. Beautiful color. From Urban Decay, I have the Naked 3 palette, and I hit pan in the shade, whoops, I have some pans falling out of here. I hit pan in the shade Limit right here. This has like 2 pans that keep falling out. I may have to glue those back in. I am really close to hitting pan in this shade down here at the very end. That is Blackheart. That one I used a lot to cover up the gray in my hair. And that's how I was getting through it, because it's like a really good match for my hair color. And I don't do that often unless I've got really bad roots and I haven't colored my hair yet. But that shadow, there's a really decent amount of a good dip in there From Bare Minerals, I have the Nudes palette and pan in the shade East right down here. From Kat Von D, I have the Lolita palette and hit pan in the shade Lolita right here. I don't know why it looks like that. I don't know. So this is also part of my Pan That palette this year. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. Well, I was just trying to clean it off. And I have a lot of pans in this palette, but I'll just kind of show you what this looks like. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pans. And we have the pans in the shade Dreamer, Rose Gold, Celestial, Drama, Incense, Love, and Passion. So there's 7. And then I had hit pan and base and then repressed it. So this is what I'm working on finishing. So I have pan in 7. I had pan in 1 additional. And I have 6 left? 6 pans to hit left. I just want to finish this, of course. Anyway, that's the Norvina palette. From Odin's Eye, I have the Elva eyeshadow palette. And the shade that I hit pan on is Morning Glory. Right there. I have another palette by Juvia's Place. This is the Festival palette. And I hit pan in the shade ABBA. Right here. I don't know if I'm saying that right. ABBA. Correct me if I'm wrong. From Hip Dot, I have the Zion palette. And I hit pan in the shade Sublime. Right there. Just 3 more. From Ciate, I have the Pretty Fun and Fearless palette. And hit pan in the shade Flirt. I have 2 palettes left, Natasha Denona for both. I have the Sunrise palette, and I hit pan in the shade Poppy. And lastly, the biggest one of the bunch, I have the 28 pan eyeshadow palette. This is in the blue purple colorway, and I have pan in the shade Quicksilver down there at the bottom. Out of all the shadows in this palette, that's the one I have pan on. I did enjoy using it though. So those are all the things that I have hit pan on since the last update in June. I do have some details about my pan percentage. So let me pull up my computer and I'll share with you what those are. If I don't count the items that I decluttered this year, I have 2 palettes that I decluttered. I have a total of 318 palettes that have eyeshadow in them in some way. And the total number of palettes that I have pan in, including the ones I talked about today and the ones that I talked about last time, is 46 palettes. So that gives me a pan percentage in my palettes, just palettes, not each eyeshadow counted, but just palettes in general, of 14.5%. So I'm happy with that so far. I would like to hopefully get that up to 20% by the time I do this update next time. Let's see, how many palettes would that be? So if I want to get my pan percentage up to 20%, I would have to have no palettes come in. And I would have to have pan in 64 palettes total, which is an additional 18 palettes. That may be a little bit challenging to do. We'll see how close I can get to that. Maybe I'll have that as a challenge for the end of the year 2023, because that gives me 9 months to do it. So maybe we'll see. But yeah, so far my pan percentage through March, today is March 18th, is 14.5%. Now, in terms of my singles, I think last time I did this, I guesstimated I was right around 10% for my pan percentage. Now, unfortunately, I had a lot of single eyeshadows that came into my collection last year. Like Cleona, I did a lot of Terra Moons last year. A bunch more Looksy. Like there was a lot of single eyeshadows that came in. So With all that being said, I'll tell you that I have a total of 609 single eyeshadows. I know that's a lot. No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone here. So 609 single eyeshadows, and I have pan in 54 singles. So that gives me a pan percentage of right at 9%. So I did go down by 1%, but you know, what can you do? So those are the numbers that I have in terms of pan percentage. I didn't do it on blushes or bronzers or anything like that because I'm not that interested in doing that. But anyway, that is going to be it for this video today. Hopefully you found this interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you are doing well and staying safe. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I can't remember if this had pan in it in my last update with this project. And I also have pan in the extra dimension. Did I say that right the first time? All right, let's see. I have from Glamlight the Hershey's Kisses. And I hit shade. Okay, bye.